large number of the black players and former black players have decided, hey, we're going to hate on Caitlin Clark and we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league. I'm honestly starting to think there's a strategy to this madness. There's a method to this madness. Here's Monica McNutt, ESPN broadcaster, covers the WNBA. Not a bad broadcaster, but she just can't help herself. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base. Let's play the clip.
Make it long-term commercially viable.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her, little girls with their parents, and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that she may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons, and sometimes they may not be based in all truth.
Did you see the strategy of the white liberal woman that was there to spur on the race baiting? Why though? Why? Why have all these fans come to see Caitlin? Why? And she's trying to lob up a softball, play the race card, Monica McNutt. And this is where I'm going to defend Monica McNutt. There's that kernel and element of truth that Caitlin Clark and all the little suburban white girls that have hopped on board with the WNBA have hopped on board because Caitlin Clark she resonates with them more so than and I'm just generalizing here, than the angry black lesbians who dominate the WNBA. And I'm not saying all the black lesbians in the WNBA are angry. Not all of them are. But there's a high percentage of them, and they all like to get in front of a microphone and express their anger and demonize whiteness. The entire league went head over heels for Black Lives Matter. They've gone head over heels for all the mark. And so, yes, have parents in suburbia and little girls in suburbia said, hey, I can relate to Caitlin Clark. Look at her nuclear family. Look at her Catholic nuclear family. She's like us. She has a boyfriend. And so there's a lot of parents that feel real comfortable taking their kids to a game who their daughters are athletes. And they're like, hey, you can be heterosexual and play in the WNBA. Look at Caitlin Clark. She's got a boyfriend. Her parents are still married. She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable. And Monica McNutt with the liberal white woman here, they're not prepared to have that conversation that there's a demographic filled with anger and entitlement and a victimhood mentality that people, regardless of color, who are not filled with anger, who are not filled with entitlement, who are not filled with a victimhood mentality, they like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be entitled, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable. I do. And I don't like everything Caitlin Clark does. I certainly didn't like her bowing to the Yas Queens and talking about it's her job to uplift black women. Because that ain't her job. And she's lying and doing the cosplay, and she knows she doesn't want to do it, but she wants to satisfy the angry black lesbians that seem to run this league. And no one wants to talk about the fact that the WNBA culture is ruled by angry black lesbians. And that they've run other heterosexual black women out of the league. This is pervasive in this basketball culture. And so it's Monica McNutt and the white liberal woman who's baiting her and lobbing her softballs. There's a discussion that they don't want to have, that this wasn't on an ESPN platform. This is just on a podcast platform. But on ESPN nor on a podcast platform do people want to talk about the personality traits that turn off the average sports fan. And when they see someone who they believe is the antithesis of those personality traits, they latch on to them. And then when you add in that she shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson and Pistol Pete Maravich, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists, that like she's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play. She's not Angel Reese, who can barely make a layup. She's not Asia Wilson, who is 6'4" or 6'5" and completely unrelatable to most women. You know what percentage of women are 6'4" or 6'5"? It's a tiny, 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 infinitesimal percentage. That's not relatable. And so they can keep, Asia Wilson should be centered and they should be celebrating her. And all the little white girls should want to be like Asia Wilson. Little black girls don't want to be like Asia Wilson. What woman wants to be 6'5"? And I'm not trying to make Asia Wilson feel bad about being 6'5". God made her that way. But let's don't kid ourselves and pretend like, hey, when you're 6'5", that's not relatable when you're a woman. Caitlin Clark is 6 foot, 5'11". I would tend to think maybe 3% of women are 6 foot or above. But it's a lot easier for a 5'7" girl to relate to a 6 foot girl than it is a 6'5" woman who's angry and whose best friend is some transgender man that thinks he's a woman and who walks around preaching to little white girls, you got a privilege and you don't have to work as hard as me and you don't have to do as much as me. But they can't have that discussion. And so they keep it real simple. And they give simplistic answers because they're not willing to have the true discussion about why Caitlin Clark is so popular. She reflects values that are relatable to kids who come from two-parent homes. That's regardless of color. Kids that come from two-parent homes can relate to Caitlin Clark because they have more in common with her values and the way she presents herself. They're not filled with animus because they don't know who their daddy is. I'm sorry for keeping it that real, but it is that real. They're not filled with animus because their mom didn't grow up telling them, your daddy ain't doo-doo. And F these men, you don't need no man. This is what these single black mamas do. They inject their animus into their seeds. And then they wonder, why is my daughter so angry? How come she can't find a man? How come she can't keep a man? How come she don't want a man? How come she's bisexual or lesbian? You made her that way. and no one wants to talk about it. So perhaps Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy. Why was Magic Johnson so popular? Black, white, whatever. The man played with joy. Biggest smile on his face, happy-go-lucky Magic Johnson. Everybody loved him. You get the energy that you put out. You put out this angry, entitled, I'm mad at the world energy. People aren't attracted to you other than other angry, entitled people. So we're moving into Kate hate season. Everybody's looking for their relevance through Caitlin Clark. I am right now. I like talking about Caitlin Clark. Yes, she pissed me off this offseason, but I like talking about her because what she represents, the conversation she sparks, speaks to the larger culture. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Fearless.